So going on to my first question, um, can you tell us a little bit about your journey as a filmmaker?
Yes, but I just want to connect my answer to your feedback on the film, your feeling on the film, because you said you didn't know that much about the history of Afghanistan, and that was the case for me because I also didn't know that much about the history of Afghanistan. I mean, I was born in 1991, and my generation, we are not really connected to the past of Afghanistan, to the history of Afghanistan. And like some years ago, like almost 10, 11 years ago, when I met a friend of mine in a TV station in Kabul, where I worked there as a producer in different programs and shows, I met Anwar, my friend, who also played in the film. And he told me about his life story, that he wanted to write something, but he was not really sure about it. He thought that it's worth to write because it's very dramatic, and it's like his life story looks like a movie itself, and it has a lot of up and down and all this. I mean, he knew that he wanted to write something, but he was as if he didn't he was not brave enough to start it. So we start to talk about it. So he said to me, like, he told me bits of bits during some, I don't know, some months, and then we made an agreement together that what if he writes every day, and the next day he emails them to me. So he wrote like 8 pages every day, and the next day he was emailing it to me. So within a year I was collecting 800 pages that Anwar wrote. And when I read that, I think that was, on that time, I must say that it was like 2000, I think it was 2009 or 2009 or 2010. And on that time, I was not even a filmmaker. I even didn't make any short film. I mean, I was working on my short film, and I had a dream to be filmmaker or to make film, but nothing was really seriously. And when I read this diary of my friend, I think it was like reading it, it was like a turning point in my life on that moment, because on one point I could read his life story, like a personal story, like a, like being told from a child point of view, from all, like all this war and stuff that he survived. But on the other hand, he was talking about the history of Afghanistan. He was talking about the last 40 years of dramas going on in history of Afghanistan, and that was something that I've never heard about it. I've never read it anywhere, and that was something that really catch me. And I saw it just immediately, that it's so visual, the way that he wrote. It's so visual, and it should be filmed. But it was so big, it was like 800 pages. So I said to Anwar that I want to make 5 feature film out of it, and I think he didn't believe me. He said, yeah, you're gonna do it. But because on that time I was not filmmaker, so he said, like, yeah, whatever, you're gonna. But then later, when I made the first part, Orphanage, and Anwar was helping me in as the assistant director, I think then he believed that we're gonna complete these 5 films. And then later in 2019, when we finished the Orphanage, Anwar was also playing in the film as the role of the teacher. And then he also worked with me as an assistant director, and now he's writing with me for the 3rd part. So.
You said he sent you so many emails, and you had, so was this all published? Was his writing ever published, or is that something just you have?
No, actually, I'm so far I'm the only one who read the diary, but
Wow.
we are working on, because he wrote it in Dari, and then in the language of Afghanistan, one of the languages in Afghanistan, and he doesn't speak English that well, and we are looking for a translator who can translate it, but it's too big, and after many like rewriting, now we cut it down to 530 pages. But still, it's a huge work, and I think we both are dreaming to publish it one day, but maybe when we finish the 5 film, then we can publish also the diary from Anwar.
Wonderful.
How did you meet him? Like, can you tell us about your first meeting with him a little bit more?
We both work in the TV. I was working in the production department and he was working in the news department. And we met each other during the coffee break around canteen for the lunchtime, for the afternoon. And actually, you know, the third part that now I'm working is about how we met. Because later we also start to date each other, and now we are like love partner. And, yeah, and it's not that, and it's not only that. 2 years after, I discovered that Anva is my cousin.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Talk about destiny.
You see, that looks like complete Bollywood, you know.
Bollywood.
It was meant to happen.
Yeah, that should be a movie for sure.
Yeah,
Wow.
so you should watch the third film if we make it one day.
Yes, we will definitely wait for it. Now your life is like a Bollywood story. So I'll just ask a question about, you know, Orphanage has so much influence, Bollywood influence. And how did that come about?
That came from the diary of Anwar because in reality he was selling cinema tickets in front of the cinema for Bollywood film. Yeah, and he was because after he escaped from home, then he ended up in the street, and for 3 years he was kind of a street kid working in front of the cinema, and he watched a lot of Amitabh Bachchan movies because Amitabh Bachchan was the hero on that time. In Kabul he was like a super, like, I mean still he is, but on that time it was like the golden time for him. And any film that came to India, the next day it came to Afghanistan, and the friendship between India and Afghanistan was very strong, and still it is. And Anwar, he watched, like, he sold a lot of tickets in black market, so he made a lot of money, but he also watched like each movie like 40 times or something. That's why he's fluent in Urdu now. only because he watched a lot of movies. So I got this idea from the diary, but I mean, I was completely opposite of Anwar. I was not big fan of Bollywood. I didn't like Bollywood. I mean, the only time that I think I watched Bollywood films, it was when I was in Iran, and I watched some Bollywood films from the national TV in Iran. But of course, they also censor a lot, so they took out all the songs and dance. So I didn't know that in Bollywood films there are dances. So I never, I didn't like the Hindi film on that time. And then Anwar kept talking about, in all the time that we started our relationship, he was non-stop talking about the Indian actress and Indian actor and all the gossip in Indian cinema, and like and he listened to all the like music from Hindi film from 50s, 60s, 70s. Like he likes Raj Kapoor and Amitabh Bachchan, and he knew everyone, and it didn't really interest me until I got a script residency in Germany, in Berlin, and Anwar also joined me. So we lived in Berlin for 3 months, and I was working on a draft of the Orphanage on that time, and I finished a draft that it looked final, but still it had a problem, because it was so, for me it was like because of the way that because of the cinema that I was trying to portray in the Orphanage, everything was so observational, and I didn't have anything from the main character. I didn't have anything that makes us to feel close with him, and I didn't want to describe his character like when everyone doing it in the film, because I thought Afghan people, we are not very expressive people, so if we are happy, or if we are sad, or if we are anything, we keep it here and we never share it. And I think it gets more, maybe because of the last decades of war, that people, they are really do not show emotions or thoughts. They just adapt, because like, even if you look at politics or history, that, you know, the change, the radical change happens one after another, that people that they wanted to survive, the only thing that they could do, they just need to adapt to that society. So I think they kill all the emotions and feelings and all this. And you know, now if, for example, now you come to Kabul and you make a conversation with someone, you look at his or her face, you don't know what he or she is thinking. You don't know, because the feeling, you know, it's like a security guard that doesn't let the feeling comes on the face. And then I knew this, so with respect to this, I didn't want to make a character description and where you know everything about the inner side of the character and all this. I didn't want to do that. But on the other hand, I was very amazed of how Afghan people, that they are not very expressive, they are fond of Bollywood, that they are exaggerating expressive. So I just wanted to add that when I was in Berlin in the residency, then I fell in love with Bollywood after watching 400 movies.